He couldn't afford even 1 riyal. But one moment changed everything. In a humble neighborhood, there lived a slender boy whose eyes were filled with a deep longing for life. Yet he was constantly met with a harsh and unforgiving reality. One day, the school announced a field trip. The participation fee was just 1 riyal, but to him, it felt like an impossible dream. He returned home in tears, pleading with his family to give him that small amount, but their faces were silent, weighed down by helplessness. There were no words, because sometimes poverty steals even the ability to comfort. The next day, the boy stood in class, lost in thought, until the teacher suddenly asked a question. Hesitantly, he raised his hand and answered correctly. The teacher smiled. The students applauded. Then, gently, he placed 1 riyal in the boy's hand as a reward. In that moment, the boy didn't hesitate. He ran, his heart racing, and signed up for the trip. His tears turned into overwhelming joy. Simple, pure joy, yet so deep that it stayed with him for years. Time passed, and the boy grew up. He stepped into life, faced its struggles, and endured its challenges. But he never forgot that small moment that changed his day, and perhaps his entire life. He often wondered, was it truly a reward or an act of kindness? He never found the answer. But he realized something far more important. That simple act of kindness solved a great problem in his life, without hurting his dignity or making him feel less. 48 years later, he decided to search for that teacher. After a long effort, he finally found him, but not in the condition he had imagined. The teacher was living a modest and difficult life. He had retired from teaching many years ago and was struggling to make ends meet in a small, humble home. The man approached him and, after a short conversation, said calmly, "You have owed me a great debt for many years." The teacher looked at him in surprise. "Me? I don't remember owing anyone anything." The man smiled and asked, "Do you remember a student you once gave 1 riyal for answering a question?" The teacher paused, then laughed softly. "No, I don't remember. But have you come to return that 1 riyal?" The man smiled warmly. "Yes, I have come to repay the debt." He led him to a beautiful house, then said, "This house is yours, and this car, and you will receive a monthly salary for life." The teacher stood there, stunned. His voice trembled as he said, "This is far too much. It can't be for just 1 riyal." The man looked at him, his eyes shining with sincerity, and said, "Believe me, the joy that 1 riyal brought me that day was far greater than anything all of this could ever give you now." He paused, then added softly, "You didn't just give me money. You gave me a moment of happiness I carried in my heart for a lifetime." Because sometimes the smallest act of kindness can change a life forever.